I'm not in the best of moods, so I don't really want to post videos because probably not a good idea. But I just watched a video. People in Japan trying to get their government to do something to help the people. And it's seeing patterns within patterns. This is the same thing that goes on all over the place. Is no leader is looking after anybody, and yet we give them the power to be the leader. It confuses me that why is it you even give respect to leaders when they're not doing anything good for you? Why respect doctors when doctors aren't going to do anything good for you? Um, why trust nonprofits when nonprofits don't seem to want to solve the cause? They just are, every CEO of a nonprofit is making billions of dollars, making sure there's problems there so they can raise funds. But they don't seem to want to stop the causes of why they're needed so often, but will trust in a nonprofit. Um, it's like you shouldn't trust a corporate structure, but yet you go to work for them. You'll buy their products, you'll buy their stuff. So I'll put a link to this video because it really is. What is depressing that the government is not looking after us, or that we think that they're going to in some way. Like we bow down to them, like a leader is only a leader when enough people support the leader. So there seems to be a lot of support for Obama, who's doing nothing but going to make everybody hungry, starving, dead. He didn't help anybody in the Gulf, just let everybody keep fishing in that toxic water, selling toxic fish. I wouldn't eat fish. I never liked fish in the first place, but um, I wouldn't eat fish. I wouldn't know where it's coming from. And they're not even going to. I know it in my own grocery store. I've stopped buying in my own grocery store because what's on the labels is not what's on the label. They can't even get the measuring right. And if we don't do any testing, if all of these safety levels aren't really safe, why do we trust them? But, you're going to trust in a legal structure that says everything that is, criminal is actually legal. It's your legal structure. You can't start a business unless you meet within these guidelines, and the guidelines are all impossible for you to do the right thing. But nobody's going to start a business because we're going to support this government structure that has all these rules that says it's impossible for you to actually make a living doing the right thing. In order to conform to doing everything, the way government structure wants it, you got to be doing everything the wrong way. And then you look at this guy in this video who's representing government, and you know damn well that he can't answer. He's got to feed his own kids. That's the greed thing. We will go to work. We will be a police officer and shoot your own grandmother for that paycheck because you got to feed your own kids. So that's where this guy is at. You can tell it on his face that he's got lots of things he'd like to do, but he's got a boss to answer to. And he knows that if he opens his mouth, he's fired. So he's got to keep his mouth shut. He looked like he had a lot of pain in his face, but knew very well that he'd lose his job the minute he started speaking up. So he couldn't. But then I'm looking at all of these people in Japan saying, why are you even trusting in your government? Like, it's time to call a spade a spade. And anybody who's got a lot of money in Japan right now, any big corporate structure that is not helping evacuate, like, first of all, I would get everybody organized within your communities. Like, these guys can organize and go and see government. Why don't you organize and see if a corporate structure is going to support you to evacuate? And if they don't, then it's like, start making a list of what companies are actually supporting your communities, because it's the wealthy people that are supporting government and making government something that we need to support. But if you start looking at the products you buy and consume and work for, and see that the companies you work for aren't supporting the people, your government is your corporate structure. And if you want to take down your government, take down the companies that are supporting them. Take down the businesses that are giving everybody jobs doing the wrong thing. Um, we are consumers, and our consumerism controls everything. And like, I've been calling the spade a spade. If I see somebody driving a Lamborghini, there's a guy that's totally insane and loves to create poverty. I don't have to know what he does specifically. All I know is, who the hell's got a lot of money right now? How did you get it? And why is there so many people living in poverty? Something's wrong. It's that 10 penny thing. Get 10 people in a room, give them each a penny. If one person ends up with all 10 pennies, what's the cause of the poverty? If all 9 other people don't have any more pennies, you've been manipulated to give your pennies away. You've been manipulated to give your value away to the guy that has it all. The guy with the Lamborghini, the guy with the bigger house than me, manipulated me into giving away my power. So I'm questioning, either we all have to equally be just as greedy, or we all have to have a little bit more respect for human life. There seems to be two types of people: those that are willing to serve, and those that are willing to just sit on their ass and take, manipulate and take. So I tend to be in more agreement with those that are homeless alcoholics. um, Not so much if they're dealing with addiction and in a lot of pain. I'm not in alignment with people that are stuck in the pain, but they at least know that whatever solution works would work for them. um, the people I don't get along with would be people that just lost their stuff and want their stuff back. They're willing to do everything wrong in the first place. And something that I noticed, that patterns within patterns again, that when I started really experiencing the abuse and need of the justice system, people within the government, women that are working within the justice system, you would think would be there to help out, fill your paperwork out and put it in the right place, and not do things to mess things up intentionally. But when you talk with them, they're like, well, this is the way the system works. This is what I had to go through. So now you got to learn what it's like. And it's almost like, I was really perplexed as to, okay, this happened to you, and you're not out there helping the next guy that this is going to hurt. I would think that they would be my allies, since they were harmed in the same way that I was harmed, but instead they're intentionally went out of their way to cause me more hell, knowing that, I was living through a friggin' nightmare. And these are people that were being paid to help me out, and yet they were helping out abusers. It was almost like they were wanting to teach me a lesson. And I can see this pattern repeating in the fact that anybody that's wealthier than me, I'm kind of looking forward to them losing everything. kind of can't wait for them. I would probably do everything I could to make sure that their life suffered, um, like my life suffered, so that they know the cause of their actions and stop doing what it is that they were doing. And it's like maybe that's what these people were doing to me, is that I was blind to what they were experiencing years ago, even though I was just a baby, because they were some of these women were a lot older than me and had their experiences years before me. Um, but it's almost like they're doing everything they can to make sure the system crashes and people suffer. Um, Almost like they know that it's wrong and nobody was willing to fix it. So they decided to get into government and help government destroy the people as much as they can, and by hurting women and children, like because they were women and children, they figure that women and children should be the ones that suffer the most. So it's almost like um, in their psychosis, instead of healing themselves and trying to do something better, they're repeating the same pattern. And my wish to um, see everybody else suffer that has a lot of money, it's I'm repeating the same thing that was done to me. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to prevent it. Um, but the more and more and more I see it, it's like, no, this subconscious thing that everybody's doing is maybe that's we learn through our biggest mistakes. So who am I to stop it if everybody needs to learn from their mistakes? And at the end of the line, because of the video I'm posting in relationship to what it is I'm talking about, it's like, as long as you want to call a leader and your leader ain't helping you, you're asking for it. As long as you're going to call a king, and your king is nothing but a corporate structure that owns most of the planet, and they have a wish to kill you because you're useless eaters. There's too many people, and their wish is to kill you. And they have a long family history of killing the population, and you want to call them your king. You want to call them somebody that's doing something good for you. Then enjoy what they do to you. Enjoy the fact that they're killing you. Enjoy the fact that they're going to put you in pain because you want it, because that is your king. The king to end your world. Your leaders to end your world. You know, the laws to end, any kind of um, healthy community. Your legal structure will make sure it's unhealthy. Your justice system will make sure there's more crime going on because they need to make a living. So they need to create a lot of crime so that they're in business. Anyways, take a look at the link below. It's pretty depressing. Um, why you want to call your leaders, why you want to donate to nonprofits that sustain problems, um, why you would go to a religion, why you would want to belong to any type of group that seems to be doing more harm than good, like light workers. There's no difference there. There's a lot of bullshit going on with light workers, the same as churches. It's almost like light workers is the new church. Aliens is the new Jesus. Um, but we're going to call them our heroes, and they don't seem to be doing anything to solve any problems. Kind of depressing. Peace out.